Hello, friends, and welcome to our Sunday streaming services. If you're with us here on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. If you're with us here on Zoom, welcome. Drop a hi in the chat. We'd love to say hi back. And if it's your first time here, sign our guest book at oakcliffeu.org/guest. Today's sermon is Dualism and Platonic Forms, the Web of Science, Church, and State with Paul Fucile. All right, first things first in announcements. Our online auction ends today, so you only have a few hours left to get those bids in. There is some really great stuff. See all the great stuff, all this stuff here? So much great stuff. And you can get it at a real bargain. Some of this stuff, I'm just shocked at how it hasn't gotten higher yet. That is 6 o'clock tonight is the end time. So once again, if you haven't checked it out, go. And if you have, go make sure that your bid is still the highest. All funds benefit the worship committee who puts on these amazing Sunday services. And yeah, we want to keep those going. So go and bid. It's for a good cause. Don't bid on the things that I'm bidding on. Don't do that. All right, mark your calendars for March 6th. We will be having a T-Monde concert on campus, not to be confused with T-Pain. No, this is a Cajun fusion band. They are so much fun, and we are so excited to have them. Check out their website ahead of time to get all pumped and excited. You know that we have fun concerts, and we always have a good time. So they will be selling CDs and merch. It'll be fun. It'll be outdoors, 2 to 4 o'clock. Great chance for us all to hang out again, right? And we're also collecting cookie donations. So yeah, if you can help out with that, that'd be great. From Rebecca, we need large glass jars with wide mouths, like those big pickle jars. I'm assuming she means those mason jars, the big mason pickle jars, to store our paint. So, right. We also need to borrow live animal traps to catch our multiplying feral cat population and have them fixed. So yeah, let us know if you can help with any of those things. And it's not too late to join our Widening the Circle of Concern study group. There's no outside reading. You just show up, have a great discussion, very interesting stuff, leave better than you came in. 7 p.m. on Sundays, contact Sherry Randall at WUCOC@oakcliffeu.org. Or if you want more information, there's tons of it in the e-blast. Speaking of the e-blast, here are the things that you can find in your e-blast this week. Our new finance team. Stuff from Endowment. Workday Wednesday, You Are You. They've got some fun stuff. The next board meeting, March 13th. Our upcoming gaming convention. Oh my gosh, how exciting is that? It is so exciting. I used to volunteer for cons. I love a good con. And the Intuck WCOC webinar on February 24th. Hey, that's Thursday. Go do that. Good times. Lots of great stuff. Check out the e-blast. You know, I always tell you to do that. That is it. So today is Sunday. If you can join us for talkback after this at 11:15, please do so. It's a chance to hang out and talk about the sermon. You get a lot out of it, whether you talk or just listen. And Adult RE, Religious Exploration with Sarah, is at 1 o'clock. They are talking about science fiction and religion and philosophy. So much fun. All right, everybody, that is it. Go visit the auction, help out your worship committee, and go have a very happy Sunday.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff. Thank you for having the curiosity and the courage to join us. Thank you, whoever you are, whatever spiritual tradition, gender, age, race, sexual orientation, or background you may bring to our community. We hope you will find here comfort, connection, challenge, respect, and above all, love.
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness.
Que esta luz que ahora encendemos nos inspire a usar nuestros dones y poderes para sanar y no para herir, para ayudar y no para impedir, para bendecir y no para maldecir, para servirte a ti, espíritu de amor, compasión y perdón.
We gather here as individual people. By Barbara Hamilton Holway. We gather here as individual people young and old, male and female, temporarily able and disabled, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and straight people, all the colors of the human race, theist, atheist, agnostic, Christian, Buddhist, feminist, humanist. We gather here as a community of people who are more than categories. We gather here, each ministering to the other, meeting one another's strength, encouraging wholeness. We give thanks for this extraordinary blessing, the gathering together of separate, unique individuals as one whole, one body, our church. Here may our minds stretch, our hearts open, and our spirits deepen. Here may we acknowledge our brokenness and be ever stirred by love's infinite possibilities. Come, let us worship.
Where is our holy church, where race and class unite, as equal persons in the search for beauty, truth, and right? Where is our holy writ, where a human heart a sacred torch of truth has lit, by inspiration taught? Where is our Holy One? A mighty host respond. The people rise in every land to break the captive's bond. Where is our holy land? Within the human soul, wherever free minds truly seek, with character the goal. Where is our paradise? In aspiration's sight, wherein we hope to see arise 10,000 years of right.
Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. We celebrate life's abundance in service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together.
And now in Spanish. Porque nos amamos uno al otro, honoramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo. Celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio a entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y acepción, así que hacemos pacto.
You are not alone with your sorrow, just as I am not alone with mine. Our covenant of right relations makes this so. You and I are bound by our promise to commune. In community, the burden of a heavy heart is shared. A burden shared is a burden lightened. At this time, we invite you to publicly post your sorrows and prayer requests to the Zoom chat or to send them to our Facebook Messenger.
When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love.
This Sunday, like every Sunday, we reaffirm our promise to one another. Our promise makes clear the call to celebrate. For that which brings you joy, makes you grateful, brings you peace. We, your sacred community, celebrate. We celebrate together and magnify joy, heighten gratitude, and spread ever-increasing peace. At this time, we invite you to publicly post your joys and prayer requests to the Zoom chat or send them to our Facebook Messenger.
Spirit of light, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirs of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Last time we met, we discussed the idea of dualism as an a priori binary of good versus bad. As well, we discussed the rise and the expansion of the Roman Empire throughout Western Europe, the Middle East, out to Spain and the northern tip of Africa, and of course, all the way up to the northern tip of England. Again, Rome established this feat both by military colonization and what I've termed cultural colonization, whereby the assimilation of Roman rule is facilitated by the Roman Empire itself, adopting the best customs of the colonized as their own, oftentimes writing it into their own history. Such was the case with Greece, and in turn offering Roman citizenship and Roman protection, as well as a number of other fringe benefits, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Most poignantly, we discussed the very clear lack of separation between religion, eventually the church with the capital C, and the Roman state. Let's return to this lack of separation, but this time the boundaries are significantly blurred between what the ancient world called science and then religion. Herein, the separation between science and the state was also too significantly blurred. In the ancient world, the subjects we call them today, science, the church, and the state, one was not without the other. But in today's time, it's difficult to understand how that works. So to better orient us in the fashion of thinking of the ancient world, I developed an example that contrasts the two. And that example is centered around weather, which is interesting because we have some weather. So first, the contrast. In today's time, we have the science of meteorology. The government or the state establishes organizations to study the weather in order to prepare for the safety and security of the state, such as the National Weather Service. Religion comes in with the occasional exception of some right-wing nut claiming that a hurricane or some other natural disaster was caused by the gays. Religions of Western societies have very little to say about the weather today. Alternatively, in the ancient world, a major thunderstorm was often attributed to the anger of one of the Greek Roman gods. Here we have religion and science. If the thunderstorm caused a significant detriment to the business of the state, say disadvantaging the Roman legion in battle, the head of the state would demand a sacrifice, be it blood or otherwise, to the appeasement of the angered god. We have science, religion, and the state all working in unison. So then the question becomes, what was science in the ancient world? In terms of external physical sciences, the universe, the stars, planet, the extent of the earth itself, the real causes of weather, were all relatively unknown. There were certain things that were known about those things, but what they were and their function and mechanics was relatively unknown. Was the earth round or flat? Wasn't a common question in 4th century Roman Empire. Because, well, what consumed the empire up until relatively that point was the achievement of basic survival. You have to remember, they're coming out of a feudal and tribal time. By the 4th century, they've moved there, but again, basic survival. We'll get into how that comes together in a minute. In terms of the internal physical sciences, say the organism as we call it, it wasn't even remotely on their radar. The idea of molecules and atoms and so on and so forth was not even on their radar. But that's not to say that there weren't developments that were considered internal physical sciences. This is precisely where we meet Plato and Aristotle, as they were the experts of the time. Yet before we cue Plato, let's set the stage a little bit, because the stage is very important, because without the stage, Plato doesn't really have a place in the movement of time. First, there is the growth and expansion of the Roman Empire. As we've discussed before, this included military colonization as well as cultural colonization. This growing globalization of civilization itself, i.e., this is the development of civilization that we know today, this is where it begins. Itself through the Roman Empire, again, it was not without merit. As I said before, in the exchange for colonization, the colonized received the protection of the Roman state from other more barbaric colonizers. As well, this is where we move from survival mode to maintenance mode, if you will. The state provided the basics for survival: food, water, and shelter were all provided by the empire. Then moving forward in time, this translates into a growing sense of safety and stability. This, paired with the rooting of the Christian narrative in society of the empire, meant the move from Greek-Roman paganism to Christianity was nearly seamless. As well, it meant that the people of the empire had a greater investment in what their Christian narrative was and how it functioned. Yet the question of basic survival was no longer the focus. So what was? And because it was no longer the focus, there was no need to offer sacrifices or prayers regarding the weather or an invasion or some sort of external threat. And so for the first time in history of civilization, you see a movement from people being externally focused to being internally focused. They've turned inward. So what does that mean? Again, this is difficult to understand in today's time, but we have to remember that in that particular period, they were like children, as small children as adults. So this becomes the perfect tipping point of time. Civilization had evolved past tribalism and feudalism. The Christian narrative had taken root, and the people were more concerned with themselves than the external world. This was the perfect tipping point, and the Emperor Constantine knew it. Now we cue Plato and the Church Fathers, or Platonism and the Church Fathers. First, Platonism, and do remember this represents the science of the time. Platonism, in the simplest of terms, was Plato's forms and essences. Essences were like derivatives of the form, although the actual connection, as we might understand it today, of a derivative was to a form was debatable. Humanity was an essence, and gods, shifting from paganism to Christianity, and God was a form. Humanity could never become a form and thus God. Yet, as an essence, humanity was to aspire to become like the form in order to grow in a relationship to and with God, and thus achieve eternal life. This science perfectly intersects with the church and the state on 19 June 325 at the First Council of Nicaea. Why did I say before that Constantine knew that this was the tipping point? Because while Christianity had taken root in the empire, not all Christianity was the same. And given the tool of control that Christianity provided the empire, the maxim united we stand, divided we fall, was now more than ever in the history of the empire crucial. What was the source of division at this particular juncture? The Arian, as in Arius of Alexandria, controversy. The Arian controversy boils down to this. How could Jesus be both human and divine? Why did that matter, you might ask? Well, for the sacrifice of Jesus' body on the cross to provide salvation, it had to be God's own flesh to be sacrificial, i.e., God making the sacrifice. 2, as well, Jesus had to be fully human for it to qualify as death on the cross. Only as fully human would the suffering of Jesus be real. Thus, for Jesus to be a Christ, he had to be both fully human and fully divine. Now, there was lots of debate about the language and how to encapsulate this in the language. But we have to remember it's scientific. They're thinking logically about the language. Today, we might think philosophically, and the word essence and forms and substance all have a specific dictionary definition. Whereas in that particular time, these were not just words, they were high-minded ideals. So this is where we get the use of science in the ancient world, Plato's forms and essences. Essentially, the language settled upon by the church fathers sounds something like this. The Son of God is begotten of the essence of the Father. Here's the key. Co-substantial with the Father. Mission accomplished. The church fathers would not again reconvene for nearly 50 years. But what does all that mean? Well, it reinforces what I said above about Plato's essences being derivative of the forms. And the word substance draws the distinction of sameness between the two, the Son and the Father. So I'll stay with the manuscript. As it will further institute a power dynamic for the two. Forms become superior, essences inferior. Jesus was co-substantial, thus the same substance of God. So not God-like, but actual God. And this is where we get the 2 prongs of the Trinity. Then the true dualistic a priori is not just good versus bad or not good versus bad, but superior versus inferior. We can surely see how the duality of good versus bad fits into that a priori duality of superior versus inferior. Again, keep in mind that we're still discussing the internal physical science of the time. In today's time, these words, essence, substance, forms, these are theological, philosophical understandings. In the ancient world, the forms and the essence, now a mainstay in scientific language in the 4th century, not only defines God and Jesus, but 2 defines humanity. Again, humanity, essences, God, both the Father and the Son, forms. And now humanity was to aspire to be godlike through Jesus as the exemplar. Now, Take Jesus on the cross, sacrificial. It gets interesting. So, also, it pains me not to delve into how the duality of superior versus inferior was so completely Roman in fashion, so completely Roman in fashion. But we have to stay the course. Biopolitics or body politics, that's really where we're headed here. Biopolitics is the development of policies that govern individual bodies. It was the tool of choice for the Roman Empire. In the beginning, biopolitics was governed through the tool of citizenship. That was their policy of control. Yet, as the empire grew, the policy had to shift. Again, you're going from battle and survival to maintenance, to safety, stability. With safety and stability secured, and cultural colonization, the fashion of control for the empire, Christianity was the perfect instrument to institute biopolitics. Again, policies surrounding the governing of bodies. The Nicene Creed laid the groundwork, the instruments, and was the founding of many of the policies the bio policies that would come down the pipe in the future. Again, keep in mind that the church and the state and sciences are all working in unison. And science is now doing its part especially. With the minds of the people now turned inward, they were primed and thirsty for a way to understand their internal physical world. Now, Plato came along before the 4th century, quite a ways away before the 4th century. And Aristotle after him to carry on this tradition of the forms and the essences with slightly differing language and dynamics, but the structure stays relatively the same. Moving forward in history, then we get what's called Neoplatonism, which brings the two together and gives us this simplified version that I've given you today. So as Neoplatonism arises, the body of the believer divides. And you guessed it, right along the lines that separates the forms and the essences. We get, in this divide, the soul and the body. The soul superior and the body, undoubtedly the essence, inferior. And not only that, it should be disciplined to the true longings of the soul, which was to be with the Father. And this, my friends, is the development and birth of sin. Sadly, though, we're out of time for today. But before I go, I want to leave you with a few questions. Now, I have to warn you, should you ask and answer these questions over the coming week, you may not cease to ask and answer these questions. And you'll surely never see the world the same. So here are your questions. Where do you see the a priori duality of superior versus inferior at work in the world? and in your life every day. What other categories, often binary in terms, are cast in the shadow of the superior and inferior duality? Gender, sex, race, class. Can you see them? How do they work? Next question. Are your body and soul separate? Is one superior and the other inferior? Give attention to the implicit language you use to discuss this binary of the body and the soul. If you have a difficult time locating this question or the answer to this question, ask yourself this. Have you ever felt temptation? Thank you again for having me. I look forward to our discussion and talk back. See you next time.
I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about sorrow? And Julian, do you not know about pain? And I said, Julian, do you not know about hunger? And Julian, do you not know about shame? But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know about disease? And I said, Julian, do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much, it brought me to my knees. But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. She said, no one does not know about sorrow. And no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger. No one does not know about shame. And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about loneliness. And no one does not know about disease. And she said, no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know, it's too much, it brought me to my knees, where I heard, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all you not know? Do you not know about tenderness? She said, baby girl, do you not know? Do you not know about friends? And she said, baby girl, do you not know? Do you not know about the spirit? She said, baby girl, do you not know? It's only love that never ends. And so all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well. And so all will be well. All will be well. All manner of things will be well.
Let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. To make an offering or your pledge, please go to oakcliffuu.org/donate and follow the links.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. De ti yo recibo, a ti te doy. Así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
It is Our Journey Together by Deborah Hafner. We are on a journey. We didn't plan it. We didn't have time for the bread to rise. We may find ourselves in the wilderness, hungry, thirsty, doubting that we should have ever come. But look around. We are not alone. It is our journey together, a journey to our better selves, a journey to a better world, a journey to a more promised land.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
And now in Spanish. Encendimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevamos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
Still